Welcome to Droid Sage. Today we are unlocking the secret vault of tech history to reveal 12 mind-blowing smartphone prototypes that were fully designed but killed right before launch. You are not going to believe that some of these actually existed. Before we reveal the first device, I have a question for you. Which discontinued phone feature do you wish would make a comeback? I'm curious what you miss most. And if you enjoy tech videos like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe so you do not miss what's coming next. Now let's step into the graveyard of innovation. Our journey begins with one of the most heartbreaking cancellations in recent history, which is the LG Rollable. This device was not just a concept because it was agonizingly close to being a real product. LG teased this phone at CES 2021 and it promised to solve the bulkiness issue of folding phones. Instead of a hinge that creates a crease, the LG Rollable used a motorized mechanism to extend the screen from a standard smartphone size into a larger tablet format. The display literally rolled out from the side to give you more screen real estate whenever you needed it. It featured a unique, resizable interface that adapted instantly as the screen expanded. The hardware was finalized and it was reportedly packed with a Snapdragon processor and a mechanism tested for durability. However, just as the hype was reaching its peak, LG made the difficult decision to shut down its entire mobile division. The LG Rollable was the final masterpiece of a company known for innovation, but it became a casualty of business restructuring. It is a painful reminder of how much creativity LG brought to the market. Next up is perhaps the most ambitious smartphone project ever attempted by Google, known as Project Ara. Imagine never having to buy a new phone again. That was the promise of Ara. It was a modular smartphone concept where the phone consisted of a main endoskeleton and various modules that snapped onto it using electro-permanent magnets. If you wanted a better camera, you would just slide out the old camera module and snap in a new one. If your battery started to degrade, you could swap it out in seconds without any tools. The idea was to reduce electronic waste and give users total control over their hardware. Google spent years developing this, and they even planned a pilot launch in Puerto Rico. They had working prototypes that could boot up and swap modules. However, the engineering reality crashed into the dream. Making a modular phone durable, thin, and affordable proved to be a nightmare. The modules added too much bulk, and the connections were difficult to secure against drops. Google eventually shelved Project Ara to focus on the Pixel line, leaving us wondering what a truly sustainable modular phone would have been like. Third on our list is a device that took screen curves to an absolute extreme, which is the Xiaomi Waterfall phone. We have all seen curved screens, but this prototype featured a quad-curved waterfall display that bent around all four edges of the device at an 88-degree angle. This design meant there was literally no frame on the sides, top, or bottom. It was just pure glass. Because the screen occupied the entire edge, there was no room for physical buttons or charging ports. The visual effect was stunning as the content seemed to flow off the device like water. It never went into mass production. The practicality of such a device was questionable because accidental touches would have been a nightmare, and the durability of the glass corners was a major concern. We are traveling back in time now to 2003 to look at the Nokia 7700. This device looks nothing like a phone. It resembles a taco or a portable game console more than a mobile device. Announced in 2003, the Nokia 7700 was supposed to be the first multimedia smartphone running the Series 90 interface on Symbian. It featured a touchscreen which was rare at the time and was designed to be held horizontally with both hands. It had a stylus, a built-in FM radio, and even a TV receiver. However, the design was incredibly bulky and awkward. To make phone calls, you had to use a feature called side talking, where you held the edge of the device to your ear, which looked ridiculous. Nokia realized that the market was not ready for such a strange form factor and canceled it just before launch. It was later retooled into the Nokia 7710, but the original 7700 remains a legendary piece of vaporware that showed Nokia was willing to try absolutely anything. Moving to a more modern but equally strange device, we have the Essential Gem phone. This was the second act from Andy Rubin, the creator of Android, after his Essential PH1. The Gem was radically different from any smartphone in existence. It was incredibly tall and narrow, looking more like a luxurious TV remote control than a phone. The idea was to create a device that relied heavily on voice control and AI, discouraging you from doom scrolling through social media apps. It featured a unique user interface with cards that stacked vertically to match the aspect ratio of the screen. The shimmering colors of the casing were designed to look like jewelry, hence the name Gem. Sadly, the company Essential collapsed before the Gem could be released. It was a bold attempt to rethink our relationship with technology by changing the physical shape of the portal we use to access it, but we never got to see if consumers would have actually bought a phone that looked like a remote. At number 6, we have the Mi Mix Alpha. This is one of the most visually striking smartphones ever made. The defining feature was the surround display. The screen wrapped all the way around the device, covering the front, the side, and the back, meeting at a thin strip of ceramic and titanium on the rear which housed the cameras. It achieved a screen-to-body ratio of over 180%. The phone had no physical side buttons and used the pressure-sensitive edges for volume control. It also pioneered the 108-megapixel camera sensor. The price tag was astronomical, set at nearly $3,000. Manufacturing a screen that wrapped around the entire device proved to be incredibly difficult, and yields were too low for mass production. Next is a legendary device from the Windows Phone era called the Microsoft Lumia McLaren. This was intended to be the successor to the famous Lumia 1020 and its massive camera. The McLaren looked similar to its predecessor with a large camera hump, but the real magic was in the screen technology known as 3D Touch. This is not the same as Apple 3D Touch. The Lumia McLaren had sensors that could detect your finger hovering over the screen without actually touching it, or answer calls just by holding the phone to your ear without swiping. It was basically Kinect technology shrunk down for a mobile phone. The device was practically finished and ready to ship, but Microsoft killed it at the last minute. The reasons were likely a mix of the declining Windows Phone market share and the fact that the 3D Touch features, while cool, were not seen as a system seller. It is a tragedy for Windows Phone fans who are waiting for a true flagship hero device. 8th on our list is a nostalgia trip with a modern twist, which is the Nokia N95 Reboot. The original N95 is one of the best phones of all time, and HMD Global, the company that licenses the Nokia brand, was working on a modern successor. This prototype was not just a slab. It honored the original dual slider mechanism. You could slide the screen up to reveal a selfie camera and a high-quality speaker grille, or slide it down for media controls. It featured a sleek aluminum body and a circular camera module on the back with a kickstand ring around it, allowing you to prop the phone up to watch movies. This device was meant to bring back the fun and utility of the slider era with modern Android specs. However, HMD Global decided that the cost of the complex sliding mechanism would make the phone too expensive for their target market. Number 9 is the Meizu Zero. In a quest for minimalism, Meizu decided to remove everything. The Meizu Zero was marketed as the world's first holeless phone. It had no charging port, no speaker grille, no SIM card slot, and no volume buttons. It was a seamless unibody piece of ceramic. Charging was done purely wirelessly with a fast 18-watt wireless charger. The speakers were replaced by a piezoelectric transducer that vibrated the screen to create sound, similar to some high-end TVs. The buttons were replaced by pressure-sensitive virtual keys on the side. It was a radical vision of the future. Meizu launched an Indiegogo campaign to fund the device with an exorbitantly high price tag, but it failed spectacularly. It turned out that consumers still wanted the reliability of a charging port and physical buttons. The company later claimed it was just a marketing stunt, but the working prototypes proved they were serious about the concept of a portless future. Let us go back to the very beginning of Android with the Google Sooner. When we think of the first Android phone, we think of the HTC Dream or T-Mobile G1 with its slide-out screen. But before that, Google was working on a prototype codenamed Sooner. This device looked nothing like the modern smartphone. It looked exactly like a BlackBerry. It had a small non-touch landscape screen, a physical QWERTY keyboard, and a navigation pad. This was what Google thought the future of smartphones was going to be. But then, in 2007, Steve Jobs walked onto a stage and unveiled the iPhone. Google engineers were reportedly stunned. They realized instantly that their BlackBerry clone was obsolete before it even launched. They scrapped the Sooner design and pivoted entirely to a touchscreen interface, which eventually led to the Android we know today. The Sooner is a fascinating look at an alternate timeline where the iPhone never existed and we all kept using physical keyboards. At number 11, we have a crowdfunding record breaker that still failed, which is the Ubuntu Edge. Canonical, the company behind the operating system Ubuntu, had a vision for a device that was a phone in your pocket, but a full desktop PC when docked to a monitor. The Ubuntu Edge was designed with premium materials, including a sapphire crystal screen and a textured metal back. It was specs heavy, promising massive storage and dual booting into Android and full Ubuntu desktop OS. They launched an Indiegogo campaign asking for $32 million, which was an unheard of amount. While they raised over $12 million, showing huge interest from enthusiasts, they missed their massive target. The device was never produced, but the concept of convergence, using your phone as your primary computer, influenced later attempts like Samsung DeX and Microsoft Continuum. Finally, we have the TCL Fold and Roll. TCL showed off a concept that combines every flexible display technology into one device. Why choose between a folding phone and a rolling phone when you can have both? The Fold and Roll starts as a standard 6.8-inch smartphone. First, it unfolds like a book to become an 8.8-inch phablet. Then, at the press of a button, it unrolls and extends further to become a massive 10-inch tablet. It utilizes TCL Dragon hinge technology and a complex system of rollers. This device is the ultimate transformer, aiming to replace your phone and your tablet completely. While TCL has shown working prototypes of the screen technology, they have been hesitant to bring it to mass production. The durability challenges of a screen that both folds and rolls are immense, and the price would likely be astronomical. For now, it remains a tantalizing glimpse into a future where one device can truly do it all. These prototypes prove that innovation is about taking risks, even if they do not always pay off. Now, I want to hear from you. Which one of these canceled phones would you actually buy today if it was released? Let me know your top pick in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to Droid Sage for more tech history. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.